which is the price elasticity of demand. So the first question, if the price of product A is increased by 20% and as a result the quantity demand for the product A decreased by 10%. So the question is, what is the price elasticity of the demand for the product A, and we will explain the type of elasticity of the product A. So let's go to the calculation. Let's go to the first question, which is how to calculate the price elasticity of the demand for the product A. To calculate the price elasticity of demand from the product A, we can use this formula, which is the percentage change in the quantity demand divided by the percentage change in the prices. Actually, there are one or two more the formula, but for this question, this formula is much more suitable. After analyzing the question, we can get two information from the question, which is the first one, the price of product A increased by 20%, and the second one, the percentage change in the quantity demand decreased by 10%. So, after analyzing the information, we can calculate the price elasticity of the demand. So, the price elasticity of the demand for the product A, we can conclude that 10%, which is the value of the quantity demand, divided by 20%, which is the value of the price of the product A. So, from the calculation, we can get the result is 0.5. So, after interpret the answer, since this value is less than 1, it indicates that there is an inverse relationship between the price and the quantity demand of the product A. This means that as the price of product A increased by 20%, the quantity demand decreased by 10%. So, what is the type of elasticity? Since the price elasticity of the demand price is less than 1, it indicates that the demand is inelastic. Inelastic demand means that the percentage of the change in the quantity demand is less than the percentage change in the prices. In other words, the consumer are not very responsive to the change in the price. So we move to the graphical representation. The graph beside me shows for a product A is inelastic because the value is less than 1. When the price of product A is increased by 20% and as a result the quantity demand of the product A decreased by 10%. The shape of the graph is steepest slope because the percentage change in the quantity demand is less than the percentage change in the price. So in other words, consumers are not very responsive to the change in the price. The steepness of the demand curve indicates that the significant price increase leads to relatively smaller decrease in quantity demand, consistent with the inelastic demand. For example, there are two necessity items and essential items, such as water and fruit. And other than that, there are also additive goods, which is the cigarette, and the service good, which is the public transportation. So that's all from me for the public elasticity of the demand. Thank you.
Case 2. Price elasticity of supply. IA company produces and sells smartphones due to an unexpected increase in demand. The company decides to increase production. As a result, the quantity supplied of smartphones increases from 200 units to 300 units. When the price rises from Rm 500 to Rm 600 per unit. So the question is, what is the price elasticity of supply for this smartphone? And the next question is, explain the type of supply, show the calculation and graph. The solution of this case, we're going to use percentage change in quantity supply of goods divided by percentage change in price of goods. The first formula is QS1 minus QS0, and then we divided it by QS0. The next one is P1 minus P0, and we divided it by P0. And then we divided these two answers. So the next formula is QS1 minus QS0. We divided it by QS0, and then P0, we divided it by P1 minus P0, and then we times these two answers. As we look here, based on the data that I gathered, the QS1 is 300, and then the QS0 is 200, and then the P1 is 600, and then the P0 is 500. And then let's get into the calculation. The 300 minus 200, and then we divide by 200. The next one is 600 minus 500, and then we divide by 500. And then the next step is 100 divided by 200, and then 100 divided by 500, and then we divide these two answers, and which is we got 2.5. 2.5 is bigger than 1, so it is elastic. As we look here, the graph show for smartphone show it is elastic because the value is more than 1. A change in the price of the smartphone causes a bigger percentage change in the quantity supplied. The percentage changes in price is smaller than the percentage changes in quantity supplied. Other than that, goods with relatively elastic supply characterized by an elasticity value exceeding 1 often encompass luxury or non-necessary items such as designer clothing, jewelry, and luxury cars, while perfectly elastic supply is a theoretical notion where even minor price alternation lead to infinite quantity changes. Real-world supply curves typically slope outward. This reflects suppliers' varying responses to price shift, influenced by factors like production cost and resource availability.
Next, for question number 3, income necessity of demand. Using the following table, calculate the income necessity of demand for a box set between two income levels, which is 30,000 ringgit to 35,000 ringgit. Based on the answer, in income necessity of demand, explain the types of goods. The formula that we're going to use for this question is percentage change in quantity demand goods X over percentage change in consumer income Y equal to 240 minus 210 over 210 times 30,000 over 35,000 minus 30,000 equal to 0.86. This answer shows that it is inelastic income. However, the types of goods Z is normal goods. Normal goods are types of goods whose demand show a direct relationship with consumer income. This means that demand for normal goods increase with an increase in consumer income or expansion of the economy. Not only that, demand for normal goods is determined by pattern in the behavior of consumer. A larger income leads to change in consumer behavior. As income increases, consumers may be able to afford goods that are not previously available to them. Examples of normal goods are food, entertainment, sport shoes, and clothes. A change in the consumer income causes a smaller percentage in quantity demand. Based on the graph, we can see that an increase in income from 30,000 to 35,000 ringgit leads to an increase in quantity demand from 210 to 240, but the increase in quantity demand is less than the increase in income.
Last but not least, for case 4, it is about cost elasticity of demand. So the question wants us to assume myself as the marketing strategy for the coffee chain. And it says that when the price of tea increases, then the demand of coffee will also increase. And based on the cost elasticity of demand, I will need to explain how this occurs and how this information can help the marketing strategy for coffee chain. So from the graph, we can tell that when the price of tea increases from P1 to P2, then the quantity of demand for coffee will also increase from Q1 to Q2. This shows that the cost elasticity of demand curve for this situation is positive because the relation between tea and coffee are substitute goods. So how this situation can influence the coffee chain's marketing strategy? First up, the coffee chain's marketing strategy can launch a promotional campaign emphasizing the benefits of coffee as an alternative to tea, particularly during periods of tea prices increases. Next, product innovation. By introducing new coffee blends or flavors that appeal to tea drinkers, could attract more customers during periods of higher tea prices. And lastly is price adjustment. The coffee chain could strategically adjust its prices to remain competitive relative to tea. So during times of higher tea prices, the chain could consider offering discounts or promotions to further incentivize consumers to choose coffee over tea.